Handicap is in front by 2 lengths here from Bacchanali. Rangers, Jeff Fruit. Handicap is in front, F down the outside, but in front near the line, Handicap.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Final Gallop. It is episode 274 and is proudly supported by the Brisbane Airport Hotels Group and PlayUp. This week we're going to preview our 5 runners for Saturday's Brisbane Racing Club meeting at Doomben. Morning, Tony. Welcome back from your mission at the Karaka Sales in New Zealand, where you did get a couple of nice yearlings.
Yeah, good morning, Claire. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, it was terrific over there. It's always a good sale to go to. It's a beautiful sales complex,
it is.
Firstly, and the Kiwis certainly know how to look after you when you're over in New Zealand. But so it's always a pleasure getting over there. There was some nice horses there. It was quite a funny sale. There was certainly a few breeds that people really zeroed in on and made it a bit hard to buy in the bracket that we were looking at, but we were able to buy a really nice staying filly by Al Mansour, which is obviously the best performed son of Wood and Bassett, out of a really stout family. So that was bought for Black Soil and a bunch of their clients and friends. Try and get an Oaks style filly, and I bought a Spirit of Boom of all breeds over there.
To bring back.
There was Rad down on the South Island around Canterbury, I think. The stud was, and they bred the Cracker Millions winner this year. So hopefully we might have bought next year's Cracker Millions winner. Who knows? But he's a lovely colt. I thought he was as nice as any of the Spirit of Boom colts that I certainly saw in January, and probably, who knows, maybe possibly better than I'll see in March. So I'm not sure, but he was a really nice colt. Bought for Mick Power and Jerry Ryan and their crew. So there's a couple of nice yearlings there. Looking forward to seeing what they can do over the next sort of 12 months. But it was a good experience in New Zealand. It was a lot of fun as always. And you know, to go to a sales complex like that, it's always a real treat.
It is. It's a nice time. Okay, and next you're off to Sydney for the English Classic sale, which is always a happy hunting ground for you as well.
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, the 2 English sales that we probably try and buy our needle in haystack type buys, and that's where John's very good at buying all horses, but he's really good at these sales. His classics, and then when we get to Melbourne for Premier, which is only X amount of weeks after, you know, always trying to shop around the edges and just try and find that horse at the right price that we can get out and offer to you guys at our syndicate level bracket. We've been lucky enough to buy some nice horses there. All that pizzazz. He's the first one that comes to mind out of classics. Garibaldi. He was a bit more of an obvious colt a few years earlier, but we've always bought a couple of nice horses out of classics. So I look forward to getting there. It's a tough week for John. There's 800 and something yearlings to go through, and there's a lot there that we probably won't want to buy. But hopefully we'll come away with 2 or 3 yearlings that anyone out there wants to get into a nice horse can get into. We were lucky enough to buy a couple of nice horses out of this sale last year, which you'll soon see racing later on this 2-year-old season, which you'll be pretty impressed with. So it always has been a pretty good happy hunting ground. And John does a lot of work on the sale, and anything we buy we do really like. Okay,
so if you are interested in coming into a yearling with us this sale season, please get in contact with Tony, myself, or email sales@gollanracing.com.au. Okay, before we preview Doomben, let's announce the winner of our latest promotion with the Brisbane Airport Hotels Group. You weren't here last week, but it was a prize, a racing package at the Novotel Brisbane Airport, including a night's accommodation, early check-in, drink vouchers, a transfer to the track, buffet breakfast for 2, and the winner is
Greg McFarlane.
Yes.
Well done. It's a better prize than the other one, Lunch with Cav, I can tell you that.
Way better.
Way better prize. So, great prize, great hospitality. Alex does a great job. I think that the hotel out there is one. It was in the finalists, or it was for airport hotel around the world. So it's a brilliant hotel. Greg, you'll have a great time staying there. Alex and his team will look after you like nothing else. So enjoy the award, mate. And like I said, you're the winner. Mark Abbott and co, who had the Lunch with Cav. Unfortunately, that wouldn't have been as good as this one.
That was the booby prize. Anyway, congratulations, Greg. A representative of the Brisbane Airport Hotels Group will be in touch with you with your prize voucher. On to Saturday's Metro meeting at Doomben. The rail will be in the half a metre position. The track is currently a soft 5 with mostly fine days ahead, maybe the odd shower or 2. What are your thoughts on the track conditions?
Track conditions, I think, it just depends on what happens on the day, really. These little showers, we had a touch of rain here last night, but minimal rain. I think the track will race like a good 4. It's been racing really well, Doom. And if we do get any sort of rain on the day, they just cut up a touch, But I think it'll be a nice surface. You want to look for horses that can obtain the right runs in races. February, we're really into off-season racing. It's good to be back in Brisbane. And the humidity this morning here is great. It's dropped right down. We've got a really nice morning here, so I hope that continues on throughout the rest of the week. I think the Sunshine Coast meeting a few weeks ago when I was in New Zealand, the humidity there was horrific. So I think getting back to a more pleasurable climate for horses.
Yeah.
It'll hopefully be a plus on the weekend, and I think for us, having racing at home rather than travelling, to the coastal destinations in the hot, humid conditions will be a big plus.
Okay. Our first runner will be in race 4. It is the Benchmark 68 handicap over 1,600 metres. Kinetic will run 57 kilos. Angela Jones rides. Barrier 6 with PlayUp. Kinetic is paying $12 to win and $3.80 for the place. She is 4th up for the preparation, and she has improved as she's got out to the mile, but she was just left with way too much work to do last start from the back of the field.
Yeah, I thought her run was still good. I thought it was a better run. Put the tongue tie on her the other day. That helped her. She just off the wide draw in a small field, she just was back last. Now she can't win from back there. All her good runs have just been bang on the back of the speed, and that's where we'll be here. And John, we drop down in weight, we'll just bounce out, put her on the back of the speed, and give her every chance. I thought it was her most promising run this time in. Her first 2 runs are on soft shifting tracks. I think good ground suits her. Okay. So if we can get good ground on the weekend, she's drawn well enough to take advantage of it. I can't see why she shouldn't sit close to the speed and be a big improver. She's a really good each way chance in this.
Race 5 is the Class 1 handicap over the 1,350 metres. Duly Elected will run in this race with 57 kilos. Angela Jones will ride her. She's drawn Barrier 1 with PlayUp. She's paying $6.50 to win and $2.40 for the place. She's been a little bit disappointing in both her runs this preparation, but you've made 3 key changes here. She's out to the 1,350 for the first time, taken the blinkers off, and you've put an Angela on.
Yeah, I think this will help her. I put blinkers tongue tie on her the other day, just throwing a few darts, to be perfectly honest, and she travelled up probably like a winner, but probably travelled too well within herself. Okay. She's a filly that can get herself up and about, heart rate up, and get a bit revvy, and I probably erred there. So I took all that gear off her. I just wanted to draw low, which we have. 1,350 around Doomben. Her pedigree suggests this is the sort of trip, and all the data we have on her suggests this is the sort of trip that she wants. She's very fit, very healthy. You wouldn't get a better looking horse at the races on Saturday. She's in really good nick. So it's do or die for her as far as racehorse goes in the metropolitan area. So this is the right grade of race for her. It's a moderate one. So she races handy to the speed, and she should give it. This will be her best run this time in, and this will let us know where she's at. But she has to improve, but I'd be shocked if she's not a big improver. It's definitely a better race for her than what the last start was. It was quite a strong race the other day, that race she was in. I think the gear changes up in trip at Doomben suit.
We'll move on to race 6, which is the Class 3 handicap over 1,200 metres. We have 3 runners in this on Saturday. We'll start with John Rambo. He'll carry 59.5 kilos. Ryan Maloney rides Johnny, and he has drawn Barrier 9 with PlayUp. He's paying $3.70 to win and $1.70 for the place. It was a good solid win last start at this distance, also carrying the 59.5. Hopefully the penny has dropped with him now that he's won again, and the right John Rambo turns up again. Yeah,
I think it will. If you go through his overall record at between 1,000 and 1,200, it's outstanding. It's when we've gone out further to the 1,400 that things have gone pear-shaped for the horse. So I think this is his right trip, 1,200, for the temperament and the way the horse is. His work's been terrific. He looks amazing, the horse. He's in really good shape. He's drawn just a fraction off centre, so it's a little bit tricky as far as the barrier goes. But there looks to be enough tempo. Without knowing the scratchings, who's going to come out and who's staying in. At this point in time, the race looks to set up all right for him. So if he's midfield with a bit of cover, you can certainly see him swooping with a good finish. And like I said, if you take away his runs above 6 furlong, this horse's form is outstanding, and it's the right form for this race. The fact he doesn't go up at all in weight off that win the other day, I think is very promising, and he's the horse they got to beat. Okay.
Our second runner is Damo Dayz, who's chilling over there. He will carry 57 kilos with Jimmy Orman in the saddle. He's drawn Barrier 1. He's paying $4.20 to win with PlayUp and $1.80 for the place. He's undefeated in 2 starts, both at this trip. He's drawn to get the really nice run in behind the speed again.
Yeah, well, he arguably could go further, this horse, but I thought this was the right race for him as well. The low draw was important. He drew low. Don't take too much into the rider bookings and changes here. Maloney is a rider of Damo Dayz and John Rambo so far to date, but obviously you can't ride them both. I made the decision to keep Ryan on John Rambo just because he's a more quirkier horse. Damo off that low draw he's a more straightforward horse. Jimmy Orman was able to sit on him in a gallop here Tuesday. He's going really well. He's the horse that I haven't got a ceiling on him yet. You know, he was first up for a long time the other day. I've had a good enough break, and into this run here. I've had a good enough break between runs. He's really, really well in himself. I was able to give him 3 jump or trials into that first up run, so they bounce out of him so much better.
They do.
I'd imagine he'd be fairly handy behind the speed. He can hit a touch of a flat spot, then ask to sprint, but he's got the upside. He's definitely improved off his first up run. He's probably the testing material to the favourite.
Okay.
It'll just be depending on what runs each horse gets here. But I really like this horse. He's a winner, 2 starts, 2 wins, and he's very much an improving racehorse.
Okay, the third runner we have is Amathuba. She'll carry 55.5 kilos. Angela Jones will ride her. Amathuba's drawn barrier 8 with PlayUp. She's paying $6.50 to win and $2.40 for the place. And as honest as the day is long, she's placed 13 off her 25 starts to date. She does only have the 2 wins to her name, but was only half a length off John Rambo last start and does meet him 2 kilos better off.
I thought she was a much better for us second up. First up, I fell into the trap of letting her race close around the Ipswich turning track, and she just flattened out. She was only on the edge of the bridle all the way, where the other day at Eagle Farm, blinkers were back on, we just rode her back nice and quiet and let her hit the line, and she ran terrific. She was a really, really good run. Saturday will be something similar. She's drawn just inside Rambo. She'll sit back just worse than midfield with a bit of cover. The more pressure on, the better run she gets through them. She's a knockout chance. A lot of form guys have her as the main danger to the favourite, and I won't argue. I thought her work since has been really, really good. You can see she's come through that second up run so much better than the first up run, because she was ridden in the correct manner the other day, and Ange will be able to do that here on her. Just sit back nice and quiet. She's a lovely patient rider, and try and pick her way through. But she'll be a big improver. The price disparity between all three is a little bit tricky. I think the market probably has them in the right order. It's just going to depend on the runs they all get in transit. Obviously Damo's going to get that better run. He just needs to be able to improve at the right time off that low draw, and Rambo has just got to be able to relax into the right position. So I think the market has them pretty right. I have them in market order. And that's why I look. I've John Rambo on top.
Damo, Amathuba.
I have them in that order on market, but the runs in transit will really paint the tail. You know, so if you're on Betfair and you're betting and running, that would be the key. But no, I think as we look at it as punters and whatnot, I think market order has it right.
Okay. We are into the final furlong of this week's Final Gallop. Who do you think your best winning chance at Doomben on Saturday is?
I think my best winning chance is that race.
Is in race 6.
It's race 6. I think I'll win race 6.
Okay.
I'd hate to put one in front of the other, but look, I'll stick with John Rambo. His sectionals the other day were really good, and like I said, if you go on his overall record at 1200, I think it's very, very good. So I'll probably stick with him, and I'll back Ryan Maloney. I hope you're watching this, to pull a rabbit out of his hat and get him in that right position early. If he does that, he's very hard to beat.
Okay, your best each way chance?
I think Kinetic.
Okay.
I can't see why she couldn't run top 3 here. I thought her run was very pleasing the other day. If Ange gets her to begin like I expect, no falling asleep on her in the gates, Angela. If you can get her out and get her into the first 3 pairs in running, I think she's a very good top 3 chance. Okay,
your best at the provincials. We've got one at Toowoomba on Saturday and one at the Sunshine Coast on Sunday.
Sunshine Coast will really be dependent on barriers. That rails out 12 metres. So, you know, I'm a little bit touchy on what we do there.
Yeah.
He would be a big improver, great aspirations. So look, I will go with him Sunday, but that will be dependent on the barrier for him. Quaid's first up in Toowoomba in what looks a really winnable race off a good trial and a good jump out at Eagle Farm on the dirt the other day. So he's really, really come on. So don't be surprised to see him race well up there. So both provincial horses are terrific chances. I think Great Aspirations second up back to 1,000 where he won his maiden. If he draws low, he's probably the pick. Okay, your best track worker this week? My best track worker this week? Antino this morning. Okay. He had a nice gallop here at Eagle Farm this morning. He jumped out on the dirt last week just due to wet weather. He had a nice piece of work this morning. Really happy with him. He'll be one of a big bunch of triallers for us next Tuesday. Okay. So I'm going to go a little bit off centre. I could say one of the horses that are racing, etc., etc. Yeah. But I'll go a little bit off centre. I thought his work this morning was outstanding. I'm loving the way he's coming up, looking towards this autumn. Okay, and your performance from the stable for the week? Wasn't a whole lot to write home about Saturday, although they all raced really well. The furthest we ran was 4th, so we were in the first 4 all day, which was pretty well what we try to achieve here, is try and have horses always weighing into the prize money, and that's what happened on Saturday without a winner. So for me, I go back to probably Snowboom. I thought she was great. We chanced the arm, went out to the 1350 with her, and she got the job done on that meeting that was pushed back from the Wednesday to the Thursday last week. So I think she was probably the one. She toughed it out nicely and beat the short price stablemate Petersham, which punters would be not surprised at. It does tend to happen occasionally here. More than occasionally. Okay, a couple of eye catchers from the Sunshine Coast Trials on Tuesday. We sent a few up there. Yeah, there's some nice trials up there on Tuesday morning. I thought pronounce it T. I thought she was really good. Alan Bell's filly, the American Pharaoh filly. I thought she was terrific. She's lovely athletic filly, and you see her run. And Explosive Tycoon, I thought he was really good too. He had to have a good shake-up, which is what I wanted. He's very much a looky sort of horse. I think in time when I put a set of blinkers on him, you'll see him go so much better. But at the moment, I like the way Jimmy Orman shook him up a little bit, give him a few, and made him trial up. I love the trial in Mullane early. He's going to go so good, that horse. He runs at Eagle Farm next week.
Ultimate gear change.
He's had the ultimate gear change. He's had the gelding operation.
Yep.
There's a few blokes out there probably watching this show that wouldn't hurt as well. But
I know quite a few around
here
right now.
What it is. But he went terrific. So he's one to follow for this period. And he's a horse that he's destined for group enlisted racing, I've got no doubt. If I can just get his confidence up in this off-season, I think we can see him figure in this year's Winter Carnival.
Okay, now watch out for our social media channels for the PlayUp Stable special offer. It will be up there later on in the day, and I'm sure it will be a really good offer that they have for you. Now it is time for Cav's Corner, which is supported by the Brisbane Airport Hotels Group. After a couple of winning weeks, he came back crashing down to earth. Let's hope he can pick himself up off the canvas this week.
Welcome to Cav's Corner for this week. Last week, no joy. We got what Paddy shot at, nothing. This week we'll go Saturday, Doomben, Amathuba, a place, into Sunday, the sunny coast. Great aspirations, a win. Good punting, guys.
So he's gone Amathuba, a place, which you probably agree with, into Great Aspirations, a win. So he will be sweating on a good barrier draw.
Yeah, he will be. I mean, well, he won't run if he draws wide. As simple as that. With other options for the horses when that rail gets out there, you need to draw the right gates. Amathuba, he's going well. I understand what he's saying with her. Her work was very good. Like if I was going to pick a horse out of the track workers on Tuesday, she was outstanding. Okay. She worked brilliant. So for the runners, I should say, that run this weekend. So she is in good order, and she really, as you look at her now, when you take her out of the box, she looks back at you. She's in really good shape. So I can see why he's done that. And I think that race does set up well for a horse with her pattern to race well. That's before we get final scratchings, of course. So I don't mind his multi, but stay tuned till we see the barrier draw for the Sunshine Coast. Okay.
Good luck firstly for Doomben on Saturday, Tony, and then you're off down to Sydney, hopefully to find the next Inglis Millennium winner next year. Yeah,
looking forward to it. I thought we had a nice filly to head down there this year, and a few things just went a little bit astray, but I've bought some really nice horses from these Inglis sales, and we haven't had to break the bank often to find them as well. So we'll be able to do. We won't be overly active. We're looking to only purchase 2 or 3 yearlings. So if you get in and let us know early, you'll get first option at anything that we buy from this sale. So I would certainly recommend doing that, because you're not going to see us buy a truckload. We'll only buy a few. So I'll jump in and express your interest as soon as possible.
Yes, absolutely. And best of luck to everyone over the weekend.